My Northern Achiever is proudly brought to you by Bonza Rural Bank Limited, Unity, Strength, and Wow.
The movers and the shakers in the Consultative Assembly.
I am a native of Dabo.
Go back to the Holy Quran for solutions. Now the Al Quran of the Shah.
And you'll born Abdul-Nasir Imam Mahmoud Al-Hadi Jibril Imam Shah.
Tomorrow's responsibilities will be greater.
The name, you can be sure, emanated.
So why not join me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, the son of Musa Kumo, as my guests and I throw you life-changing stories. Whenever it is Friday night at 8:30 p.m., if you go to Empire Barbering Saloon inside Namakra, you see a lot of people gathered. They are doing nothing but watching my Northern Achiever. Empire Barbering Saloon and the crew, this is my greetings to you and everybody watching right about now. You are tuned into my Northern Achiever on Sagani TV with me, Abdul-Jalil Naabeli. I am a son of Musa Kumo, and every Friday, like we do it, I have another great personality in my midst. And Bonza Rural Bank is proud sponsor of my Northern Achiever on Sagani TV. And we can only say thank you so much, Bonza Rural Bank, for, you know, supporting the brand. And for any other person outside there, if you need to sell your business, then my Northern Achiever is the program that you have to attach yourself to. I have a lot of issues. You know, we are the Gombes, we are Northerners, and the Bong have begun getting some peace, and there are a lot of things that we need to put in place as a people in order for us to be able to move forward as such. And so today we are going to talk a lot more about the Bong, how we are going to move forward as a people, and you know, so many other things that we would have to talk about today. And so whoever is not yet close to their TV set, call them and tell them that the king of Northern Prime Time is here with another great personality. I go for a quick breather. I'm back shortly after, and then I introduce my guests and we start the program. Don't go away. We're back shortly.
My Northern Achiever is proudly brought to you by Bonza Rural Bank Limited, Unity, Strength, and Wow.
Thank you for staying, and we are welcome back from the commercial break. I am Abdul-Jalil Naabeli, son of Musa Kumo, and we are on my Northern Achiever on Sagani TV. Into Azumo program about ten nang la ya abu ten nang asilmi sileni di pepu ne katezang na dagbande do metemba nimbo sote dundon wana zungo ma onyela ndinsa so don tu ne so kamza sazang o asim nang kadi amfani za satale osane. And so we are going to do it in two parts. Like I said, in Dagbani we are going to have to do the first segment in English language, and then we'll switch to Dagbani so that we can all benefit from these old citizens, senior citizens, so to speak. Today I am with the legendary lawyer Ibrahim Mahama, you know, a retired legal practitioner. I don't know whether legal practitioners do retire, but he is a legal practitioner and a politician, and so many things that we are going to get to know today. Lawyer, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We are so grateful, you know, for you accepting to be on the show, and we believe that by the end of the program a lot of us are going to learn quite a lot from you, and so many things are going to be revealed. I usually ask with asking my guests where they come from and who they are, basically. So if anyone should meet you and say, Alhaji Lawyer Ibrahim Mahama, who are you? How are you going to describe yourself?
Well, I would say that I am Ibrahim Mahama, a barrister at law, an old politician, a writer, and a farmer. I was born in about the year 1935, or I would say 35, because in my early life, I took my birthday to be 10th June 1936, based upon information I gathered from my parents. But when I grew up, I made further inquiries, and I realized that I was born in really 1935. Okay. Now, my mother is Haji Nabia Damata, okay. A daughter, or the eldest daughter of Zambalna Mahama the first. And my father is from Nato. Nato is about 16 miles from Wa. He too was a European cook. In those early days, you have to get a license to be a cook, to cook for the white man who colonized this country. So this is my parentage. So when I was born, my parents did not send me to school. I was born in a village called Tabung. Tabung is about 16 miles from Tamale. From Tabung, my grandfather, who was a chief there, was promoted to a village called Zangbalong. So my early life was at Tabung and Zangbalong. These are the two areas where I hail from. I did not grow up in Nato. I grew up in these areas, than Sapulgu, Tamale, Yendi. Now, as I indicated, my parents did not send me to school. So at the age of 15 years, I had real interest in educating myself. So one early in the morning, I left Zangbalong and set out to go to Sapulgu, because there was a school in Sapulgu. Sapulgu is about 25 kilometers from Tamale, on the Bolgatanga-Tamale road. I presented myself to the teachers to indicate that I was interested in schooling myself. Well, they were surprised, because they told me that other children they have recruited, they've been running away from school to their hometowns. So they have to, from time to time, go back to their parents and got them back to school. So they asked me, really, do you want to educate yourself? I said, yes. So they put me through some little tests. They asked me to recite 1, 2, 3. And I was able to go beyond a point that they wanted me to go. When I counted up to 100, they said, good, you can stop there. They asked me what I know, ABCD. I said, yes, I do. They put me to test there. I was able to recite everything.
Before you continue, how were you able to, get to know how to recite 1, 2, 3 and ABCD, even though you weren't in school?
Yes, actually, one of my uncles had been sent to Sabrogo Primary School. He's the late Tabunglana Abdul-Jalil. He died only a few years ago. He was in Sabrogo Primary School. So anytime he came on holidays, I always sat down with him and learned 1, 2, 3 from him. He taught me this 1, 2, 3. He taught me the ABCD. So that is why I was able to recite these things.
Okay, so back to the school, you were able to recite this.
So I was able to recite that one. So they decided to ask me to sit down in class 1, 2, and 3. All 3 classes were in one single room. That tells you the number of the classes. Very few people, because one single room, not a big room. And it contained class 1, class 2, class 3. And then I sat down there from Monday. That was 1951. I sat down there for 5 days, from Monday to Friday. So I can say that I finished my class 1, class 2, class 3 in 5 days. So the next Monday, they promoted me to class 4. So from class 4, I started my real schooling. And I spent 3 years to do class 4, class 5, class 6.
What was the name of the school?
It's called Sabulugu Local Council Primary School. That's the name. So after 3 years in primary school, the white men, Mr. Bryant, he was the Director General of Northern Education in Tamale here. And then one, Mr. Ashworth, he was then in charge of Trade Training Center. This is now the Technical University in Tamale. they came to interview us to go to middle school. I was the first to be called to be questioned by them. So I went through the interview all right, and I remember our teacher told us that anytime they ask you any question you didn't understand, you say, pardon, sir. Then they will repeat the question. I'm glad to say that even I didn't say so many pardons, sir, because I understood whatever they were telling me. So after the interview, they promoted just a few of us, about 11 of us, to go to Yendi Middle School. At that time, that was the only middle school in Dagbang.
Wow.
And the school had been opened in 1949. That is Yendi Middle School, 1949. Okay. So, and that middle school received so many other primary school children there.
Yeah, from all over Dagbang.
From not only over Dagbang, from all over the northern region. Yeah. That time, those who came were from Bimbala, from Cherpany, from Gushao, from Tamale Practice School, and one also from Yendi Practice School. Yendi Practice School is still there. So then these were the schools that came there. And when we collected all those boys there, we were only 45. Wow. So you can see the paucity of the numbers from each primary school. Yes. Primary school from 7 primary schools.
And yet you just have 45 students.
Only 45 students. So from there, I spent 2 years there, from 1 and from 2. That time we call it Standard 1 and Standard 4 and Standard 5. So from Standard 5, again, we were subjected to an entrance exam to go to secondary school. Once again, it was white men who came to examine us, written exam, and later on an interview. One Peter Spade, he was in the Tamale Secondary School. That time they called it Government Secondary School. So he and one of his colleagues came, gave us test papers. We wrote it, they collected their papers, and then they left. Within a few days, they came back to announce the number of people who had succeeded to go to Tamale Secondary School. Yeah. Again, unfortunately, only 7 of us out of the 45 were able to pass. So we went to Tamale Secondary School. Then in the Tamale Secondary School, all the people from the Northern Territories had to come. So they had to do the same exam for all the other schools in the Northern Territories. And there were only 2 classes. Each class, again, had 45 children. So 90 children were successful. And I believe that those of us who had been examined were more than 300. Wow. And they only took 90. Now, after some time, we did the school certificate examination again. Then a few of us passed to go to sixth form. Okay. Again, I was fortunate to be successful. So I went to sixth form, and this was 1960. Okay. At that time, we just spent it was not quite 2 years, because in June, we wrote the examination. And fortunately, again, as I said, I succeeded in sixth form. I passed the A-level, and it was London A-level, advanced level. So we spent, again, just 1.5 years in our sixth form. Then we were set to go to University of Ghana. Now, at that time, if you were going to the university and you wanted to do law, you had to do the examination at the level, at the secondary school level. So our teachers in Tamale Secondary School were not aware that we were going to the university together with our seniors who had written their Cambridge School high certificate earlier. So they were going, University of Ghana was going to have 2 streams, London boys and Cambridge boys.
Okay.
So because our teachers were not aware, by chance, they told me that there was a likelihood that we will also go with the Cambridge boys. Okay. So I wrote to the University of Ghana, the registrar, to say that I sat for the A-level. If I pass, I want them to admit me.
Okay.
So when the exam results came, I was the first to be told in my school that I was being invited to University of Ghana.
Wow.
So everybody was surprised. I said, yeah, I applied on my own. So my classmates who did the A-level with me, none of them went to Legon with me.
Wow.
I went with my seniors who did the Cambridge. So it was the following year
that they also
all
followed.
My classmates came to join me. So I became their senior
at the university
by 1 year again.
Wow.
Then of course, after when I arrived in the university, I told my senior tutor in the university, if you go there at our time, they will choose a lecturer. He will be your senior tutor. He is not going to give you any lecture, but if you have any problem, you take it to him.
More like guiding you in everything.
That's a guardian, like a guardian. So I told me, Reverend Dixon, Reverend Dr. Dixon, he was my senior, my tutor. So I said, well, Ibrahim, I'm fortunate. Did you do the exam in Tamil? I said, no, sir, I didn't. I didn't know that if you are going to do law,
you have to do
that. He said, well, it's unfortunate, I can't help. Then one evening, I decided to go to see the head of legal department. And he was Professor William Harvey. He was the head of the law school in Legon. So I said, well, we normally examine the boys before they come. But are you prepared if I give you a written exam to do? I said, yes, sir, I'm prepared. So he organized an examination for me. When I went to do the exam, I saw 2 other boys and 1 girl. They were also in the same suit. Yeah. They wanted to do the law, but they had not
taken the exam.
That exam. So 4 of us were given the examination. Fortunately, all of us passed.
Wow.
Now, at that time, my predecessors were doing 5 years for their law. Fortunately for us, when I went there, the department or the university decided to cut law school period by 1 year.
Okay.
Instead of doing it 5 years, they said that our group should do it 4 years. So again, I gained 1 year for the others who were doing law, who were my seniors and went earlier.
Yeah.
So after 4 years, I was called to the Ghana Bar in 1966.
Wow.
So this is my educational.
And that is how the story of your work experience started.
That is my
experience there. And I like the way Lawyer has landed. You know, he landed right on time. My producers were signaling me for a quick commercial break. And so we are going for that quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little more about Lawyer's childhood. You know, how he grew up, the things that he did as a young boy growing up. I know he's a horseman. And so probably we'll learn a little more from him about how he was raising horses and, you know, cutting hay for them and other stuff. So don't go away. We'll go for a quick breather. We'll be back shortly after we continue with the conversation.
There is an adage in Dagbani that says that if you look down upon a soothsayer in your house, when you need the services of one at midnight, no one will tell you where to go. Bonzale have been with us for over 20 years now. They have never swindled anyone before. So do not be deceived by anyone. Rush now to any Bonzale branch or worker and start trading with them. Bonzale Rural Bank have the following accounts: current account, savings account, salary account, Welma account, Hajj account, Zabuni account, and corporate account. Abida and Shell account, and also fixed deposit account. They also offer loans including individual loan, salary loan, wash loan, microfinance group, salary advance, and many more. They also have SMS alert, ATM with GH Link, EaseReach, Western Union and MoneyGram, Apex Link, and mobile money. Bonzali have branches in Kumbungu, Tamale Main, Lamashegu, Yendi, Karga, Nyampala, Sang, and Cherpon with a head office at Kumbungu. Call Bonzali on the following number.
My Northern Achiever is proudly brought to you by Bonzali Rural Bank Limited, Unity, Strength, and Wow.
Thank you for staying with me on my Northern Achiever on Sagani TV. The simple question I usually would ask is, do you have an account with Bonzali Rural Bank Limited? If you don't, then you are doing yourself. That's how we say it here. Because Bonzali Rural Bank Limited is a bank that cares for you and a bank that is our very own. You know, let's grow Bonzali Rural Bank together, and then at least we can be proud of having our own in our midst. And so if you need any financial, issues, be it business, be it treasury bills, fixed deposits, accounts, any type of account that you need, ATM, everything that you need in a mainstream bank is there at Bonzali Rural Bank Limited. Do open an account there. You never ever regret that you do. Today I'm having a wonderful conversation with the legendary lawyer Alhaji Ibrahim Mahama at his residence in Tamale. And so we spoke a little, or in fact we spoke about education up to where he was called to the Ghana bar, and so we are going to continue with the conversation. But which year were you called to the bar?
Oh, 1966. I mentioned it.
Yeah,
October
sure.
1966.
Okay.
I was called to the Ghana bar.
Right.
Now
let's
with my seniors.
Okay. Now let's rewind to your early childhood life. When you were growing up, I read your book, your autobiography, where you titled "The Destiny of a Horseboy."
Yeah.
Now, how was it like growing up as a young boy?
Yes. In the palace, that is Tebong Palace.
Okay.
I was brought up by my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, and maternal grandfather.
Okay.
I was treated like a blue-eyed boy. I was loved by my grandparents.
Okay.
They didn't want anybody to touch me. So I had everything that I wanted.
Wow.
Little children,
Yeah.
what they needed was good food. At any time they want food.
Yeah.
And we are like vultures.
Abundance of food.
Every day, every hour, when you feel like eating, you ask for food. So I had it. And then the clothing, I was very well clothed. I went nowhere except to eat and play outside. Then when I grew up a little, anytime my grandfather was going to his farm, he normally rode a horse. If the distance is a little, just about, not even far, about quarter of a mile, he will ride a horse there. And then they will put me at the back of the horse, another horse. Then they will go there, he will be there. I will also be playing in the farm. Then when I grew up a little, I was asked to join people who cut grass for my grandfather's horses.
Okay.
When I grew up, my grandfather had as many as 7 horses.
Wow.
7 horses.
He was such a wealthy man then.
Yes, yes. And so it's a big house. The palace was a very big house. We call Nachimba, that is the servants. They had 2 children. I mean, two sets of houses.
Okay.
Those who were cutting the grasses were occupying those places. So they asked me, that was about the age of 10.
Wow. To
join them in cutting grass for my grandfather's horses. And this time, that was at Zambalon. Then I also set up when I grew up a little again, they always ask the little children to make their own little farms, just by their grandparents or their father's farms. So I was a little farmer. I also reared some fowls on my own.
Wow.
The Gombe Society, when you are just growing, or festival days like Bone Festival, you normally go to your uncles or your grandparents and uncles and grand aunts. They will give you some little money. So I used that money to buy some fowls, to rear them. So while I had my own little farm, I also had my own poultry. When I say poultry, you just buy a few fowls, little one, the chicks.
Yeah, sure.
You rear them,
and rear them to grow into bigger.
You get some grain. You cockle.
But you know, my concern in this is actually the fact that today we hardly see children do these things. You know, and so
which is bad. They should teach children to do that. That is how I grew up. So even in my house here, all little children who are in my house, they have fowls.
Yeah, I can see a lot of birds,
yes.
You know, pigeons.
I have no hand in them. This is just for the children who are in the house here.
Wow.
They rear them.
Wow.
And they sell them. I don't even know the day they sell them.
Wow.
But that is the way to bring up children. You will see in my another book, History and Tradition, I talk about rearing, how to raise children.
Yeah, sure.
All that I indicated, I knew how many weeks a fowl
would hatch.
All these things, there are lessons to be learned, and they are good things. So I reared fowls in my life. Even when I grew up a little, I even bought some shea butter to sell. Then I was also buying matches and even sometimes kerosene. In the evening, I go around the village and sell them. Then when it came to a time that I could help in the Simpa dance, I became a conductor.
Wow.
Conducting our Simpa dance. So
I believe those were interesting days. And,
they're very, very interesting days.
It will always bring nostalgic moments, you know. And, but now let's come to talk about your professional life. You were called to the bar in 1966.
Yeah.
That was the year Nkrumah was overthrown.
That's right.
Now, how did law practice start for you right after being called to the bar?
Yeah, well, when I was called to the bar, we had options. That time, you are in government service, or you practice on your own.
Private.
Interestingly enough, of my group, my classmates, only 3 of us opted to be legal practitioners. All other classmates of mine joined the government service.
Wow.
They went either to Lands Department, to Attorney General's office, or to other corporate bodies which are members of the government. But myself, then one Abdul Saka. He's a Mampresi boy. At one time, he became Deputy Minister of Defense under Progress Party. Abdul Saka. Then one boy, Hughes, he became Speaker of Parliament. Under NPP.
Yeah, Sechi Hughes, Ebenezer Sechi Hughes. Yeah.
We were called to the bar at the same time.
Wow.
So he opted to do legal practice, and he went to secondary. Then when I opted to do my legal profession, I went to TUC Hall, called Law Chambers, where I practiced. Abdul Saka decided to come to Tamale and also practice here. So only 3 of us. Wow. The rest were you see, to start legal practice, it takes a brave person, a determined person, because you must have a car, you must have other facilities, and be able to stand on your own. So the others, some of my classmates who joined the government service, when they were able to have their cars and other things, they opted out.
Okay.
They had also to come and do
Sure.
legal practice.
Sure.
By that time,
You had
done
a lot
great
of cases
deal in
already.
it. So, fortunately, also for me, I didn't do the legal practice for long.
Okay.
But I opted for legal practice because I thought that that was the area I can help my own people. If you are a young lawyer and you are doing government service, you can't help yourself, really, not to talk of your people. But if you are doing legal practice on your own, people will come to you and ask you to help them in various areas. So that's why I chose my legal practice.
Wow.
So I went to law chambers and practiced law.
Okay.
And in fact, one of my colleagues in law chambers was this current Samuel Kujeto, not the NDC man, but the NPP man.
The old man.
The old man.
Sam
he is my colleague in law chambers, but he is my senior. He was called to the bar a year before me. You. So we were in law chambers, and in law chambers there were as many as 12 of us.
Wow.
Who were lawyers with our seniors, Narayan, Ajiman, J.K. Ajiman. They were our seniors. Mr. Ampao, who was one time Minister for Health for NPP, the Progress Party. So when I practiced only for 1.5 years, the NDC decided to get civilians to join them.
Was it
because there was an attempt coup?
NLM, I think?
Yeah, NLC.
NLC. Okay.
You see, there was this coup to overthrow the NLC. So the soldiers and the police, which had overthrown Nkrumah, decided that there was a need to get civilians involved in their government. So they set up civilians and called them Executive Council. Then I was recommended by D.A. Yakubu, Gushena Yakubu.
Yes.
He recommended me and also recommended one Yusuf Ali to the NLC to recruit us as members. Other NLC members in their own areas also recruited others. So I left the legal service and joined there, and I was appointed commissioner for secretariat under the NLC. So my office was as establishment secretariat.
And that was a purely political appointment?
A purely political appointment.
And that's how you entered politics?
That's how, but I can call it a political appointment by the military.
Yes.
So that is the beginning of my real politics.
Wow.
But civilian political, democratic politics, I came to do it in 1969.
Okay.
And so in NLC, this council, I was a member there. Then later on, when they dissolved the NLC, I then decided to go into politics. But in NLC, after secretariat for and the NLC, I became the first Minister of Forestry. They combined forestry, parks, gardens. Wildlife. And constituted that one to a ministry. So I was the first to head it as a Minister for Forestry. Then later on, I became Minister for Information.
And the NLC.
Okay. And the NLC.
So that was all these were before the 69 elections.
Between 76 and
66 to 68.
So I managed these three ministries, one after the other. Secretariat, Forestry, then Information. Then when after that one, they decided that NLC should fold up and we have election. Then I joined a party called Abdul-Jalil's party. Social Democrat Liberal. So I was then appointed the General Secretary of that party. Under Abdul-Jalil. So while as General Secretary, I also tried to become Member of Parliament for Tamale. So I contested the Tamale seat under Bedema, and I won hands down. 1969. So at that time, our party, our opposition party, decided to come together to form one strong opposition because we had NAL had only 29 members. And the people who constituted NAL and in Parliament were mostly from the Volta region, from the northern region, and from the upper region.
Regions. Okay.
These three areas, we had no MP from any other region, but northern region, Volta region, and upper region.
Okay.
In the northern region, it was 3 of us from the northern region.
Okay.
In the upper, there were also 3 of them. That's all. But majority, 29, were from the Volta region.
Wow.
So we had 2 other opposition parties. We decided to join together to form what we call Justice Party.
Okay.
So we will form Justice Party. We were competing with Progress Party.
Okay.
Busia was then the Prime Minister. That time we had the parliamentary system of government, not presidential.
Okay.
The parliamentary system of government is in UK. That's what they practice. But the Americans practice the presidential. So we were there again for just up to 1972. Okay. And then the Achampong's coup
also came.
Wow. And then we packed our books and went back home. I came back to continue my legal practice.
Okay. So this is where we are going to have to go for another quick breather. We'll come back and continue from where the Achampong coup came. And then probably we'll continue with a little of lawyers' political life and then get some lessons from that as well. And then we can now move in to talk a little more about Dagbon peace and, you know, the way forward for us as a people. Bonza Rural Bank Limited is a proud sponsor of my Northern Achiever, and I'll always entreat you to try your best. Go open an account with Bonza Rural Bank Limited, do business there, and you would forever be grateful that you made that choice. We'll be back shortly after this commercial break.
Anjulim Boni Abukar K. Mohammed ka enye marketing officer Nzanti Bonza Rural Bank Limited. Zongomi omborne ncheka selo bank Bonza letum de tun shanga bakwe shanga dem pongarla te twasi pam to ama zongo omborne selo dila amfane zanchang yashe tembole microfinance bokat lebole microfinance de nyalata tumana ma ya'la za'yanga ka te yihle ne te zang de sonda te manama te zo paaba te paaba bambi dabjilem puune ka paangono enletu no be te microfinance group ngo puune dende yin ka ya yum pishayi ka kamar hankale ka be dabjilem puune anyala ne vonso ngono to be te microfinance group ngo puune to ama nirba ta be annahe ka bonzale zangna be kpalan zuya ngbanda ka mal ala kawle nzanchan la la panda tuma ma puna tilego paso ngombe dabilam puna enyi nivoso ngomal adalci objago puna anta ngombe yemangle o jilel puna ngompanyala nivoso ngom vi ka zorle dinin karanyala audela ne kala shabmo puna anyala ne voso ngono to twe bonzal microfinance group mo puna kadi amfane kawula karananga tengala tamanama to zo paaba beta paabo ma en lamba tumbo shela group la imma nirbanu niveau pia niveau pichi be niveau pichinano hal bi pa niveau peta ba patale nyele la niveau peta ma pune katalan tom puba sub groups mana be mala groupe dabam groupe ma pune magaje yam janme ka bangmara tumbo so secrétaire la ko biane ka lo asonga tumbo so treasurer la ko biane la mirba tango ka tienche ka bazang be photo zongma be vote be bangma antapa magaje ma be mu yom mala tibil be wata bil anzana kar yo group accounts anzanta la groupe ma poy ka lormo mananti kawula ka lormo yanti tuma la karachi nima bami tuma ma vien yalanga hal silmi sina zoba de bolan bana credit with education karagban nyala karachi nima banyan til lagarma biyan waham ande lagarma an yanzan bi adabilman sham bi adagulman sham karachan tone ka amfani yana da punu ka di ka to yo samlama diri pala biyan kan la ta gbelin lagrama nzanta kan mar ayi bonza rural bank bamba non la ami kana tele tutu bobo wana bank she beto nindele den pala bonza rural bank yo zo har so yite kana no o yampan yala lagara de to mani bu ban vien yalanga bank den le kele yinango wula karatira po kana mban ama dite kana bonza rural bank muna anta da kunya sochi asama fa ko bela da puna to amma halala la pambo yalango de ba mala dabam prala bonza ni nan vego amni so kamza haye musalani ya shamla zo tilego to mala shara karabura bakoy to bona mu weekly anyi katamasha silmisi ponto bona bi weekly dini borla bakoy de bayi kamza ha yi jil zo ka boy yi biyan boy na bakoy de bayi nyanga dam pahantama katabona mantle be golgol dinya yi pila gol bago anjina to yi jil mboge itu yan labin na boge ha shi golma antlanci dimin ya golma pilgo ke jina yi de lagarma tamala grace period ba shekar garna poi ke nam pilge lala yobma to ama dan shayin pige be dabsa shayin pige ne saha shabe wakati shayin pima lala dabsilma be sahama ka karacin mayan kanna ka yite umbura to ke katyan zale te zumo zanjam microfinance mo ma yeto amapulo na wani bukuti katinye vei pa zumo da dan kamza habiana tellan labna ante cheka selo di damfane na wani sontuma.
My Northern Achiever is proudly brought to you by Bonzal Rural Bank Limited, Unity, Strength, and Wow.
Wow. Thank you so much for staying on with me on My Northern Achiever on Sagani TV. My name is Abdul-Jalil Naabeli. I am a son of Musa Kumo. Today, I still have with me the legendary lawyer Alhaji Ibrahim Mahama, you know, a politician, a lawyer, a writer, so many parts, you know, a farmer, you know, and so we are taking a lot of lessons from lawyer, and we were at the point where, you know, a champion came with the coup, and then you had to pack your bags and baggage out of politics and came back to continue with, you know, your law practice. So how did life continue from there for you?
Well, it was difficult, but we managed to swim across the river.
Okay.
I decided to establish my legal practice this time, not in Accra, but in Tamale. So I came and opened my office in Tamale here, called Malgu Chambers. First, I changed several offices. At first, I was in the story building, which was now for Sinit. That's where my practice was. Then later on, I moved to Sawankudi Plaza. That's where my practice was. Then later on, I established my own office. I built my own office where I am right now, on the Kumasi Hospital Road. I practice in Tamale, I practice in Bolga, I practice in Wa, I practice in Boku, I practice in Navrongo.
Wow.
I practice even in as far back as in the Volta region. I went there to do my practice, but based here in Tamale. In other words, if you are a good practitioner, people will come from the various places to look for services. So I practice in Brahapo, Ashanti, Upper region, Northern region.
Then you would have been such a rich man then.
Well, unfortunately, because of my desire to serve my people, I got very little money. Anytime I was going out to do this legal practice, most often they only pay for my transport. And locally in Tamale here, very often, some of my children were broadcasting before even I started anything. They normally just brought me some guinea fowls and yam. Very little money was forthcoming. Because at that time, the poverty in the northern sector was really great. It was smelling poverty. But because of hard work and because of a champion self-reference, feel yourself, we can boast now that Northerners were able to buy Benz cars
Wow.
and even take them to their farms.
Wow.
And some people envy us for the success of Operation Free Yourself. That really raised the economy of the whole
country.
North. People who couldn't buy cars bought lorries, cars,
Wow.
and they are still in those business or in other businesses which are even more lucrative
than.
At first, people in the North were only contractors, but they abandoned their construction
and coming back into
went to farming. So because of poverty, I made very little money.
Wow.
But I managed to swim across the river. And you can see at that time, I had the largest number of clientage in Tamale, even though I was not the oldest lawyer. There were many seniors ahead of me.
Now, let's talk a little about some of the, legal practitioners who has passed under you, especially at Malibu Chambers. Who are some of the prominent lawyers that you can think of?
Yeah, well, not very many.
Okay.
And also, they didn't stay in my chambers for long. But I can mention all of them.
Okay. All right.
When I was in Malibu Chambers, I can mention the lawyer Mohammed Mumune.
Yeah, sure.
Who at one time was Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's still alive.
Yeah, sure.
And a very hard-working person.
In fact, he has become my foster father since I hosted him on the program. I have a constant touch with him.
Beautiful.
He's such an intellectual.
He's an intellectual.
Yeah.
In fact, he was one of the few lawyers who did his masters. Most of us did only first degree, but we remained in Legon and did a second degree, a master of LLM.
Yeah.
So when he came, he first of all, Mumune decided to become a magistrate. Then after a little taste of that one, he joined the bank as lawyer. Then later on, came back to Tamale here to practice.
Okay.
And he briefly spent some
time with you. Okay.
In Malgu,
Chambers. Okay.
Then I had one man Sachi. He was from the Volta region. Then I had my senior brother George Y. Mahama. He was from Mampugu area.
Okay.
He later on he was managing director for Ghana Fishing Company.
Okay.
He was with me in Mali, Kemba, G.Y. Mahama. He was there for some time. Then later on, he joined politics in Accra.
Okay.
Then I also had one, John Domalai. John Domalai is now the chief of Dormo in Wa.
Okay.
Then also the Abdul Fatah Yakubu.
Okay.
He also joined Malgu Chamber. He's still practicing.
Okay.
He is a master of Plaza, Saban Kwadi Plaza.
Yeah, sure.
His chambers is there.
Okay.
Then currently also, apart from his legal practice, he is a counsel for the Northern Regional House of Chiefs.
Okay.
If nothing, these
are some of the people
lawyers who pass through.
Wow.
Chambers. Currently, there's no lawyer in Malgu Chambers. I am the only one there, but I no longer go to court because as an old man, I can't even stand on my feet. American lawyers, they can sit down. But British trained lawyers, you have to stand on your feet.
Okay.
And indicate, demonstrate certain issues.
Yeah, sure.
Now, I can only stand for a limited period.
Wow.
So I left my legal practice as far back as 2004.
Wow. But, such a long time.
But I decided just a few years ago to try one case on WA to see how modern practice is going on. But today I folded that.
And did you win that case?
No, I didn't win. I lost it. Then I couldn't, because of my old age, I couldn't even launch an appeal.
Okay.
I gave the file to lawyer Mohammed, who is practicing now.
Okay.
Okay. So he was doing the appeal, but my client wrote to him that he has abandoned the appeal. But I believe that if he had pursued it,
he would have won.
He would have won.
Wow. But let's stay a little while on your legal practice, you know, what are some of the, like, one or two of the landmark cases that you ever handled?
Yeah. Well, if I'm going to mention one landmark case, I will indicate that let's mention a few more.
Okay.
The first one is a political type of case.
Okay.
When we finished the 1969 election,
okay,
the case in Navrongo, our candidate was one Henry Animana.
Okay.
And the Progress Party candidate was one Seiri.
Okay.
Now, all indications show that the null candidate had won, but the NPP, the Progress Party candidate Sylvester, he was declared the winner. So I decided to petition.
Okay.
I then became the lawyer.
Okay.
You know, at that time I was also the General Secretary of National Alliance of Liberals.
Okay.
So I was an MP, General Secretary, and a practitioner.
Okay.
So I was wearing 3 different coats.
Okay.
So I filed a petition on his behalf.
Wow.
So in the end, I won.
Wow.
I won the case.
Wow. Wow.
And the NPP appealed against it, and they took lawyer E.O. Apia.
Okay.
E.O. Apia was one of the oldest lawyers in Tamale. He was an Anufu. So Apia was one of the first lawyers in Tamale here.
Okay.
So he took the case of the Progress Party. Apia was a Progress Party, strong Progress Party member.
Okay.
So we went up to the Court of Appeal. Then I invited my friend, colleague, and senior, Samuel Kujeto, to join me to deal with the appeal. So we went to Court of Appeal. Sami was the leader. I was assisting him.
Okay.
And then we won.
Again.
So this case, if you look at the law reports,
okay.
Wow. You will see the report there.
Wow.
That was the first
landmark case.
Now, there was also a landmark case in a land case.
Okay.
One Fatima Asana, she had a father who acquired a house in Tamale here, and then later on he died, and this Asana was a young girl.
Okay.
And some people
wanted to take over the land.
No, wanted to take it was some people who begged to live in the house.
Okay.
And then they allowed them. Finally, when she grew up and wanted to take over the house, they denied her that right.
Wow.
And they claim it to be their property. They didn't say, they said the father
gave it to them.
Yeah. So I took up that particular case, and then I lost. But it was clear evidence that the one whoever, the judge, if Anas was there,
would have shown him.
Would have caught him. I made an appeal. But in the interim, politics again came my way.
Wow.
So one of my juniors, I mentioned Mensaki, he prepared the case for him. Then he took it to the Court of Appeal, and we won.
Wow.
It's a very clear-cut case. So it's in the law report.
Wow.
As one of the cases I did.
What I want to ask next would be, you know, whether you can reckon the number of cases that you have won.
Yeah. Well, unless I sit down
and
I can't. You know, but once you win a case, you don't keep it in your head again.
Yeah,
it's gone.
Move on.
You don't allow that one to take part of your time again. Time is precious.
But how does it feel? I asked lawyer SY this before. How does it feel as a lawyer when you take your client to court and you lose the case and you look into your client's face? How does it feel?
Well, when you go to court, every lawyer, in majority of cases that he takes, particularly as the one who is a lawyer for the plaintiff. He always look at the case before he takes it. Majority of lawyers want to take cases that are really clear-cut. Otherwise, they will advise their client that they have very little chance in the case. When I was dealing with some people, they bring me a case, I look at it and say, you have a good chance of winning. We will win. Other cases, I told them,
we have a slim chance.
It's a border case. I may win or lose. Others, I told them, you can't win this case. But if you insist I should do it, I will do it. Particularly if it's not against my principle in morality and other things. But I will tell you. But if you say I should pursue it, I will pursue it. Otherwise, I say no. So most lawyers want to handle cases that they can win. So when they lose those cases, they are always the first to tell their client that let's appeal. If they lose, they know that something has gone wrong somewhere. And that is why there is hierarchy of cases or courts. So you can advise your client, let's go to the next court, which is the Court of Appeal. And then you go to the Court of Appeal. Sometimes even when you lose there and you are convinced that something has gone wrong, you can again advise your client that let's go to the Supreme Court. So when I lost certain cases, I felt something has gone wrong. But I never allowed that one to run me down. Because you are not born as a lawyer to pursue one case. You are born as a lawyer to do as many cases as you can. So don't allow the loss of one case to bog you down, to burn you into pieces. That should not be done.
Many are those who say that lawyers are liars. You know, somebody brings a case, for instance, and you know too well that this person has actually committed the crime, yet you go to court to argue that the person has not committed the crime. You know, is that the case? Is that what lawyers are about?
Certainly not. Certainly not. I cannot speak for all lawyers, but generally when you are in the law school, your teachers tell you that ethics is part of law. You are taught certain things about ethics. That is morality, certain things to be done, certain things that should not be done, do's and don'ts. You're taught all those things. A lawyer, they will tell you, should never come out to lie for his client. If your client has on his own lied, it's none of your business. You are taking instructions from your client. He will tell you what the case is. Some lawyers, they will even scrutinize their client's case and say, this one, please tell me something more about it. I do not see what you're talking about when it's mixed up with lies. Then you pursue it. But you as a lawyer should not set out to lie for your client. So when they say lawyers are liars, I don't accept that one. It is just, if I get a case which is full of lies, I won't take it. I will say, please look for another lawyer. But I cannot speak for all lawyers who can decide to lie for their clients. That is not the cup of my tea.
It means therefore that if someone has stolen a goods and the person comes to you and confess that yes, I have stolen the goods, but I want you to defend me in court, you will not take the case.
No, I never defended such people. Because I don't think it is right. My religion has molded me to a certain level that I don't like lies. In my house here, what I hate most is a liar. Lies can lead to many disasters. So I don't like liars. So it's my training. My morality, my religion debar me from that kind of situation. So people know me as a person, if you are even my opponent, and the truth comes for me to say it for you, I will say it. But I will not side, I will not go against you simply because you are my opponent.
And so today, this is where time is going to allow us to minority achieve on TV. It's been a wonderful discussion with a lawyer talking about his life, all through to where he became a lawyer and some of the landmark cases he has taken as a lawyer. We will all agree with me that this cannot be the end of this particular interview. So we'll come back next week with Ibrahim Mahama again, so that this we can conclude on matters with him, especially concerning or pertaining to the bump and other work experiences that he may have acquired as a young man all through to his old age. Thank you so much for doing the monitoring. Because of you, my knowledge Achiever is what it is. Because if you do the recording and bring it and you don't watch, you don't have a program. So I can only thank you for your patience.